Leadership at ground level. What washing feet taught me about business and life. When you picture a leader, do you picture a towel? Let's cut to it. When most people think of a leader, they imagine someone standing tall, confident, polished, and in control. They imagine the corner office or the keynote stage. The LinkedIn bio has enough buzzwords to sound impressive, but not enough humanity to move people. But I want you to pause that image. Now flip it. What if authentic leadership looks more like someone kneeling? What if it involves a basin of water and a towel in hand, serving others not to be noticed, but because it's right? That's where we're headed today. And I will tell you right now, this won't be your typical 5 steps to greater leadership article. This is going to mess with your thinking. Why? Because I'm not just talking business. I'm talking eternal impact. I'm talking about what it means to lead like Jesus, even in your company, brand, team, and life. And listen, I'm not writing from a pedestal. I've had to relearn this lesson repeatedly, usually when I thought I was arriving. The higher you go, the lower you're called to kneel. So, I want to invite you into a story that changed the way I think about leadership forever. It is not a metaphor, not a theory, but a real act by the greatest leader who ever walked the earth. It happened in an upper room, and it involved feet. Let's go there. The night leadership changed forever. John 13:14 in action, more than a moment. Let's step into the room. It's Passover. Jesus and his disciples are gathered for what they don't realize will be their final meal together before everything changes. And just when the disciples are still debating who's the greatest, because yes, they were still caught up in status, Jesus gets up, quietly, intentionally. He removes his outer garment, wraps a towel around his waist, and kneels. He grabs a basin, and he starts washing feet. You might have heard this before if you've been around church circles. But don't let familiarity rob you of the gravity. In first century Israel, foot washing was gross. It was reserved for servants, the lowest of the low. This wasn't just a kind gesture. It was a radical reversal, a cultural shakeup. And Jesus didn't just serve his closest friends. He washed the feet of the one who would betray him, Judas. Let that sink in. Then he said this, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." John 13:14 NIV. This wasn't a suggestion. It was a command, a call, a complete redefinition of power and influence. He wasn't saying, do this symbolic thing. He was saying, this is what leadership looks like. It's personal, it's uncomfortable, and it's terrific. Jesus didn't just wash feet, he washed away ego. Let's connect the dots. Jesus operated from total clarity of identity. John 13:3 tells us he knew where he came from and where he was going. That's the key. When you're secure in who you are, you don't need to cling to power. You can leverage it for others, and that's what he did. He removed his status and put on humility. It was quiet. There was no fanfare. There was no Instagram story. But in that moment, Jesus gave us the most precise picture of kingdom leadership the world has ever seen. And here's the part that hits me in the chest. He told us to do the same, not in theory, not in a church setting once a year, not in life, not in business, not with our teams, our customers, our communities, and yes, our enemies. This isn't about washing literal feet. It's about choosing the towel over the title. So here's my ask. Are you leading like that? If not, are you willing to start? Because we're about to unpack precisely what it looks like and why it might be the most influential business strategy you've never tried. The world says climb. Jesus says kneel. Let me be blunt. Most of what the business world teaches about leadership is upside down. You know the drill. Build your platform. Protect your time. Guard your secrets. Climb fast or be left behind. The higher you go, the more you delegate. The more you delegate, the less you get your hands dirty. You earn respect by doing less of the small stuff. That's the myth. But then there's Jesus. He's got the most authority in the room, actually, in the universe. And what does he do? He grabs a towel. He kneels. He scrubs dirty, crusted, travel-worn feet. That's not just inspiring. That's disruptive. Because if he did that, what excuse do I have? This is the kingdom paradigm. It doesn't climb the ladder. It lies down to lift others. It doesn't flex power. It multiplies trust. It doesn't hoard credit. It creates culture. And if you're in business, yes, especially if you're a founder, team lead, or executive, this is where the game changes. People don't follow position. They follow presence. Leadership isn't a title, it's a temperature. If your team feels your authority but not your empathy, your culture is brittle. Your influence is shallow if people know your expectations but never experience your service. You might win in the short term, you might get performance, but you won't get loyalty, trust, or legacy. But when you lead like Jesus, when you stoop, when you serve, when you make the hard choice to put others first, you build something deeper, something stronger, something kingdom-shaped. I've seen it. The best leaders I've worked with. They ask, how can I help you succeed? More than they ask, why didn't you meet expectations? They roll up their sleeves. They sit in discomfort. They apologize quickly. And they celebrate quietly. And the ripple effect is unreal. So here's the shift I'm inviting you into. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be impactful. Because when you trade hierarchy for humility, people don't just follow you. They grow because of you. And that's leadership worth building. You don't need a title to lead. You need a towel. Let's get real. What is this whole idea of foot-washing leadership? It's not a soft, passive, nice guy approach. It's ferociously intentional. It takes grit. It takes guts. And it might be your boldest move in your business life. I call it the foot-washing framework. A set of 5 principles that flow straight from the upper room into your boardroom, break room, or Zoom room. These aren't cute metaphors. These are actionable truths that flip your leadership upside down and make it unshakable. Let's walk through them, slowly, intentionally, like we're washing feet. 1. Lead with identity, not insecurity. Jesus knew exactly who he was. That's the only reason he could kneel without losing his power. If your leadership is rooted in fear, ego, or the need to prove yourself, you'll cling to control. You'll struggle to delegate. You'll avoid feedback. You'll lead from defensiveness, not strength. And people will feel it. But when your identity is grounded, when you know who you are and whose you are, you're free. You're free to serve, free to empower, and free to lift others up without feeling small yourself. Bottom line, insecure leaders need validation. Secure leaders give it. 2. Serve the Judas. This one stings, but it's where kingdom leadership gets real. Jesus washed the feet of the one who would betray him. He didn't skip over him, didn't lecture him, didn't expose him in front of the others. He served him fully, lovingly, and intentionally. In business, you're going to have difficult people. Critics, underminers, people who rub you wrong or even wound you. But foot-washing leadership says, I'll still serve you. I'll still show up with character, not revenge. That kind of integrity? It's magnetic, and it's rare. 3. Humility over hype. We live in a highlight reel world. Everyone's flexing, curating, and wanting to be seen as crushing it. But here's the twist. Leaders who have to look important rarely are essential. The ones who are moving the needle? They're too busy lifting others to worry about spotlighting themselves. Don't chase brand over depth, chase impact over applause. Humility is not weakness. It's the superpower that unlocks loyalty, creativity, and legacy. 4. Sacrifice is the strategy. Jesus gave his time, comfort, safety, and ultimately life for the sake of others. And if you think that's unrelated to business, think again. Servant leadership is sacrificial. It costs something. Your schedule, your pride, sometimes your profit. But when you build your business around people, not products or platforms, you don't just make a living, you make a difference. Serve your team, serve your customers, serve your competitors. Let that be the strategy. 5. Repetition is revelation. Jesus didn't say, try this once. He said, you also should wash one another's feet. John 13:14. In other words, make this your rhythm. Leadership isn't one big heroic act. It's 1,000 small ones, done daily, quietly, and consistently. Over time, those humble acts reveal who you are. Repetition reveals character. It reveals culture. It builds trust that lasts longer than hype ever could. So ask yourself, where can I serve again, and again, and again? This isn't theory. This is transformation. The towel isn't a moment. It's a mindset. And if you start here, I promise, it'll ripple through your business, life, and legacy. Time to reflect. Personal and professional mirror check. Let's pause here. We're throwing some heavyweight truth around, but this can't just be inspirational fluff. It has to get under your skin, into your calendar, and into your tone of voice. How do you carry yourself in meetings, conflict, and the quiet decisions nobody else sees? So let's hold up the mirror. Not for shame, but for clarity. For growth. For kingdom recalibration. This is where you ask the hard questions. The kind that don't just challenge your business model, they challenge your heart model. Where are you grasping instead of giving? Be honest. Are you more focused on getting credit or giving value? On being seen or truly seeing your people? Do you delegate to empower or just to offload what you don't like? Are you gripping the title so tightly that you're missing the towel God's called you to carry? These are not soft questions. They're defining ones. If leadership is influential, then how you use your influence matters more than how much you have. Who's the Judas you've been avoiding? Yeah, that person. The critic who doesn't understand you. The employee who underdelivers. The client who feels entitled. The friend who ghosted you when things got hard. What would it look like to wash their feet, figuratively speaking? To forgive, serve, or show grace instead of building emotional walls? Listen, I get it. That's not efficient. But it is a kingdom. And more often than not, that's precisely what makes it transformational. What culture are you creating? Culture isn't your mission statement. It's how people feel when working with you, for you, or around you. Do people feel seen, cared for, empowered? Or do they feel like tools, stepping stones, or background noise? Here's a raw truth I've had to face more than once. You can have a mission statement that inspires and still build a mission environment that exhausts. Foot washing leadership builds culture from the inside out. This reflection isn't just a checkup, it's a wake-up. Because before you lead anyone else, you've got to let the Spirit lead you into humility, courage, and honest self-assessment that births real growth. And that leads us right into the next step, action. Real world, practical, leadership on the ground action. Action steps. Pick up the towel. Let's clarify. We don't need more motivational moments. We need movement. We need leaders who do something with the revelation they've been given, who gets out of the chair, grabs the towel, and washes some feet in real time, in real places, with real people. So if this article has stirred you, that's good. But if it doesn't move you, it's not enough. Here's how to turn this from a good read into a transformational rhythm. These are not to-dos to check off. They're invitations into a lifestyle of servant leadership that works in life and business. In business, shift the culture, don't just manage it. Host a towel talk with your team. Sit down with your team and ask, where have I missed opportunities to serve you better? Listen without defensiveness. Ask for honest feedback, then act on it. That's leadership. Create recognition for quiet greatness. Build a system that celebrates the behind-the-scenes servants, the ones who show up, go the extra mile, and don't toot their own horn. Let humility become the new hustle. Model the messy stuff. Jump into the grunt work sometimes. Answer the support ticket. Handle the awkward client call. Take the 7 a.m. shift, not because you have to, but because it sends a message. I'm not above you, I'm with you. Make grace part of the strategy. Build margin into your business processes for people to be human. That means grace in mistakes, encouragement in slow seasons, and restoration over replacement. In life, make servanthood your superpower. Serve someone who can't return the favor. Buy lunch for the intern. Text the friend who's gone silent. Mow a neighbor's yard without asking. Do it quietly. Do it joyfully. Watch how God multiplies that seed. Forgive the one you've been resisting. Maybe you can't reconcile yet, but you can stop resenting. Wash their feet in prayer. Speak a blessing over them in your heart. Let that be your freedom. Practice daily foot washing moments. Every day, look for one humble thing you can do to lift someone else. A word, a gesture, a sacrifice. Stack those moments and you'll build a legacy. This isn't about performance. It's about posture. And when your posture is low, your leadership rises. So here's my challenge. Don't just admire Jesus with your words. Imitate him with your actions. That's where kingdom culture starts, where business becomes ministry, and where you stop managing people and start multiplying purpose. Pick up the towel and keep carrying it.